So my story of invisibility is something that I don't feel like a lot of people talk about. I struggle with an eating disorder, and whenever it gets to the point where it's a constant thing that I'm struggling with on the daily, sometimes hourly, I really want people to notice what's going on. But when I feel like they don't, it's really hard and it just kind of makes it worse. Sometimes, like if I'm at work and I have a longer lunch, I usually spend my time outside, and I have a few people who I constantly go through their checkout lines at my work, and sometimes they make the comment like, "Oh, well, just a smoothie for lunch? Just raspberries? Oh yeah, no, it's fine. I have more food upstairs," kind of a thing. But sometimes we go to lunch together and they see how little I eat, and it kind of stings that they don't notice. Even like the people that I live with, it's kind of sad. Like, I really feel invisible, and whenever I want somebody to notice, or when I want to reach out for help, and we live in a society today, especially being in Portland, where everybody's so wrapped up into their own little I got to do this, this, and this, and this. And it doesn't really matter what you're going through, kind of a thing. That's just the way I see the mentality of Portland people or whatever. But yeah, so I live with a couple of people who are very focused, and they don't really notice a lot of things, and sometimes that can make my issue worse. So the eating disorder I struggle with is anorexia, and when I feel really depressed or anxious, I eat less and less. And it's not something that I want to continue to do, but if I feel like nobody around me is noticing, then why should I care enough to help myself? So it's kind of this double-edged sword almost. If I reach out for help, I feel guilty, and if nobody notices, then it's kind of why bother? But I do actually have a couple people who notice, and they care, so that helps. It's not anything that really anybody talks about because we feel ashamed of it, of course I got treatment for it in high school, and we all talked about it, and we all talked about how we feel so ashamed. And we would be at this place 4 days a week, and we'd go to school one day, and nobody would notice in high school. We'd only be there 1 day a week. Maybe our close friends would notice, but we didn't really feel comfortable enough to reach out. I mean, for me personally, I just told everybody that I had a heart condition, and they were like, "Oh, okay, well, I hope you're feeling better, and I'm glad that you're here once a week." As an adult, it's I'm around people constantly, and if I'm around them every day and I feel like they're not taking a notice to the slow decline of weight loss and whatnot, and especially in an unhealthy way, because I never work out. I smoke, so it's my lungs are just no, I need all the air possible, and working out just makes it worse. So but yeah, I'm around people constantly and nobody notices, and it's a really difficult struggle for me. But it's just something that kind of puts it into perspective. Like, you kind of have to learn how to help yourself, but you also kind of have to learn to really notice and pay attention to other people around you. And if you see somebody that's going through a similar struggle as you, then I feel that, like, I really do want to reach out to people and be like, look, this is my struggle. I think we share a similar struggle. We need to talk about it and get support from each other, because there's not a lot of people who are actually willing to do this and get help from each other, because anorexia is a silent killer, and you can spend every day with somebody and still not see how hard they're struggling just to eat dinner or lunch or breakfast. And I think that it's something that a lot of people should be aware of. And I don't want anybody else to feel invisible in this struggle that they're going through, because the feeling of invisibility is the most depressing thing that anybody could ever feel, and I don't want that for anybody. And I just want to share my story, I guess, and let people know that I'm out there to help them and be a support system for them if they need it.